What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about my top 5 picks for FNCS qualifier number 3. Before we get into the video though, I want to take a second and apologize for the lack of consistency in the content. My controller has been broken and I sent it off to AIM about a month ago now, and it's currently being fixed. So hopefully I should have it back within the next week or two, and we'll get back onto the consistency train there. So with all that out of the way, let's get right into the video. So as most of y'all should probably know at this point, FNCS is currently going on, and Qualifier 1 and Qualifier 2 both have already wrapped up, and Qualifier 3 is this weekend. I want to be talking about my top 5 picks for NA East and NA West. I would add EU on here, but I don't really keep up with the EU side of FNCS because it's kind of early in the morning and I never get a chance to watch it. But if y'all would like to see that for the next FNCS, let me know down in the comment section below if y'all want me to cover EU next FNCS, and I'll make sure to try to follow along a little bit better next season. So out of Qualifier 1 and Qualifier 2, 10 people who won for NA East, or I guess 10 teams that won for NA East. We have Jamper Duke, Commandment Stretch, Cold and Scented, Elite and Bank, Noob Teo and Pledge, Peterbot and Blaya, Agers and Kanata, Death and Coney Owner, Dejan and Iamzo, Miro and Booga. So those 10 teams will not be on my top 5, obviously, because they've already made it to the finals, so they're not going to be able to participate in Qualifier 3. Over on NA West, we have Rex and Reet, Chicken and Macton, Rexy and Dynamic, Lime and Chip, which, by the way, perfect duo names, Caleb and Solutions, Beast and Tatai, Batman Booga and Wheels, Allege and Dragon, Schools and Kenzo, Slick Nick and Convict. Once again, those 10 teams will not be on my top 5 list because they have already made it over to the finals. So with that out of the way, let's get into my top 5 picks. So over on NA East, obviously, starting out, I have to mention Day and Clicks. They've been playing phenomenal during these 2 qualifiers. They almost qualified during the last qualifiers. So I really expect them to at least make it in the top 5 during Qualifier 3. Now, I'm not the biggest Clicks fan. I might get some hate in the comment section below for that. I don't know. He's a really good player, don't get me wrong, but I just don't vibe with him, you know? However, Day, on the other hand, I might be a Day fan. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. I just want to take a second and say none of these are in any particular order. These are just my top 5 picks on who will be in the top 5 somewhere. Next, we have Illis and Jack. And I'm surprised, honestly, that this duo hasn't already qualified during the first 2 weeks, because this team is always in the FNCS finals. I don't think I've seen a single FNCS finals that Illis and Jack haven't been in the finals. I 100% expect to see them in the finals, in the top 5 of the Qualifier 3 somewhere this Sunday, Saturday, this weekend sometime. And along with other people that we've seen in the finals over and over again, we have Scope and Magnolia. Now, once again, don't know why they haven't qualified already within the first 2 weeks. They're kind of pushing it here with still a lot of good names in NA East, to be honest, that haven't qualified going into week 3 here. And let me tell you, this top 5 list was kind of difficult to make because of that. And Scoped and Magnolia, they play really well together. They've done really well in these past 2 qualifiers. They just haven't managed to, rack up the placement points that they need to really qualify. They're right there at it though. So week 3, I feel like they're definitely going to be in the top 5 somewhere, along with Pam Stu and Fatch. I don't know, this entire top 5 list, maybe besides Day and Clicks, I'm surprised haven't already qualified in the past 2 weeks. So I guess I'll go ahead and include the other one in here as well, which is Joji and Rokane. So Pam Stout, Fatch, Joji, and Rokane. Those 2 duos, I am really surprised that they have not made it into qualifier or into the finals already from the past 2 weeks. I'm gonna sound like a broken record because I've said that with pretty much every single one of these teams at this point, but it's just really surprising that they haven't made it in. I really do think that these 5 we'll probably see in the top 5 for this week of qualifiers, right? They're all phenomenal players. They play really well together. We'll just have to see how it goes really for NA East. I do have some honorable mentions, and the first one being Threats and Rise. Now, Threats and Rise, they're a really good team. We've seen them do well in the past of FNCS, but the thing that's holding them back right now is that they're trying to do the same strategy that they did last FNCS, where the coolers gave you, guaranteed chug splashes, right? But this season, obviously, they don't give you guaranteed chug splashes, so they're trying to go into the building, loot the coolers, get the shields up, and then go for a weapon, which would be fine if they were uncontested, but they're not. And they're actually being contested by a pretty good team in, Qualifier 1 and Qualifier 2, so we'll have to see who is actually going to land there during Qualifier 3. If Threats and Rise can change up their strategy instead of trying the same one that they did last FNCS, where they actually qualified through, then we may be able to see them in the top 5 as well. But I mean, we'll just have to see. If they've learned anything from the first 2 qualifiers, it's going to be that they need to change up their strategy. Additionally, we have Buck and Cam on here. Once again, really good players, people that we've seen in the finals of FNCS previously, multiple FNCSs. I don't know what they could change. They just need to survive a little bit longer, make it to end games a couple more games, and I think they'll do well. And in the same boat there, we have Tahi and Paper. Really good team, really good players. They just, they missed out on a couple of end games, couple eliminations here and there. Eliminations in round 4 of the qualifiers are 3 points each. So eliminations can be huge. So maybe a couple of extra, mid-game fights, whatever the case may be, to get those extra points might be beneficial to them. Or they could just stick it out till the end game, get the placement points, and the kills and eliminations will come to them as they're rotating through the end game, which will further put them even higher up on the leaderboard. The last 2 honorable mentions I have that could possibly make it are P-God Squishy, or P-God and Squish, and Skittles and Users. Once again, 2 really good teams, really good duos. I really don't know why they haven't made it into the qualifiers already, or into the finals rather. So it'll be interesting to see how they change up their strategy as well. See if they play more in game, or if they try to be a little bit more aggressive early on, because they absolutely have the ability to be aggressive during those like early to mid game, rotates and fights. We've seen it from them in these past qualifiers. We've seen it from them in the past FNCSs. As long as they come prepared, locked in for FNCS, we could possibly see them in the top 5 as well. Now, I do have one more team that I want to add in, and who knows if they'll actually make it to the top 5 or even round 4, but I am rooting for these guys over everybody else. I really hope to see Rody and Jiven in round 4. That would be amazing. It would be their very first round 4 ever, and whether or not they actually make it into the top 5, it'll be good experience. It'll be good content as well. They might need that little bit of experience under the belt for next season's FNCS. Let them make one round 4, and I guaranteed you we'll see them round 4 of every single qualifier next season, if not in the finals. I mean, they improve dramatically over just a couple of rounds. I watched them almost double their points from qualifier 1 to qualifier 2. This team is just really underrated, and if y'all know me, I like rooting for the underdogs. So Rody and Jiven, I hope y'all make it to round 4. Hope to see y'all in that top 5 position, and who knows, it could happen. Okay, now moving on to NA West. There's not really much to say here. It was kind of difficult to make a top 5 list for NA West because I was running out of people to add to the top 5 because most of my picks already made it. So, I mean, I'm pretty happy as far as NA West is concerned, but there are a few people that I really want to see in the top 5. First one, obviously, you know, we have to talk about it. Fabs and Snacky. FNCS winners last season, currently holding the Pickaxe of Champions. I mean, they dropped like 16 kills in their first game and ended up being in first place, even though they went down in like 16th or something. The person who came in first ended up being 3 spots down below Fabs and Snacky, with Fabs and Snacky being in first, just because of the eliminations that they got in the first round. As the games went on, they ended up falling out of that top 5. I think they got like 6th or 7th, which was a little bit unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. This qualifier though, I feel like they're going to be in that top 5 for sure. You got to think about it. Some of these people, they're really good. They know they're good. They know that they can qualify into the finals, whether it's being in the top 5 or on series points alone, right? Fabs and Snacky and our next mention, right? They go kind of, you know, toe to toe with this as well. But Fabs and Snacky, if they qualified in the first or second qualifier, then they don't get to play the third qualifiers. They don't get to play, you know, semifinals if they end up making it through with series points. You know, there's a lot of practice that they miss out on by qualifying the first week. They know that they're good enough to qualify, so they just wait until the last qualifier. And speaking of waiting until the last qualifier, we have Arkham and Epic Whale, the 6-7 times FNCS winners. And honestly, they really should have qualified for the first qualifying week. Fortunately, there's some desync in the in one of their games that they really needed to make count, and they ended up falling out of the top 5, or ended up not clutching up enough points to make it into the top 5, even though they were on track to do so. And they only played like 5 out of 6 of the games. Had they, you know, not had the desync that I'm about to show you guys, I honestly feel like they would have qualified and gone straight to the finals, right?
Game 1.
Fine. Wait, what? Super like, wait, I'm...
Yeah, so as you can see, Arkham was in a completely fully built metal box and was getting shot. It was either desync or hackers of some sort, which I don't think was the case. I don't think there was, you know, any hacking right there going on. With that many people in the circle, sometimes the servers get overloaded. They can't sync properly. And that's probably what happened there. Very unfortunate for them, but you know, it happens sometimes. I mean, it happens to the best, as we see right there with Arkham and Epic Whale. But qualifier 3, we can definitely see them somewhere in the top 5. And with those two listed, I am willing to bet that both of them will be, you know, first, second. I don't know which. It could be a toss-up. But Fab, Snacky, Arkham, and Epic Whale, I guaranteed you, will be first and second place in the top 5 of the NA West FNCS. They might even be first and second for the finals. Who knows? That's for a different video though. Moving on, we have Notch and Salty. Really good duo. Like I've said, for every single one of these teams, they're all amazing players. They came so close in NA West that it wasn't really funny, honestly. They needed a couple more kills. They came to end games a lot, and they couldn't manage to clutch up one win. They got really close. I think a 4th place is where they died at in one game. Had they won that game with the last 2 eliminations, they would have probably qualified, honestly, in my opinion. And then they wouldn't be on this list, and I wouldn't have anyone else to put on NA West. I'd be one short, honestly. But another team that should have made it through, but I'm pretty sure got griefed a lot on their drop, and that's TNA, Slick, and CZR. I really expect to see these people in the finals, in the top 5 in this qualifier 3. If they're not, I don't know who's going to be in there. CZR is just an amazing player. And together with Slick, I mean, they're almost unstoppable when it comes to, you know, getting into the box, getting those refreshes, and just pushing forward to the end game, right? If they can make it off spawn, they'll do well. I guarantee it. Like I said, I was kind of running out of people to put on the top 5, but I had to have a top 5, right? This last person's going to be kind of underrated, but they did really well in the second qualifier. And I honestly believe that they could possibly, make that top 5. And that's Krypus and Thoric. They really haven't been mentioned a lot here and there, but watching their gameplay during qualifier 2, they definitely have some potential. They did end up clutching up one of the victory royales, but unfortunately it put them just below that top 5. So that's why I think Krypus and Thoric will be in the top 5 of qualifier 3 of the NA West FNCS. But that is my list, guys. What do you guys think of it? Who are your top 5 people for NA East and NA West? I'd love to hear what you guys think. Are you enjoying FNCS if you're playing in it or watching it this season? Let me know down in the comment section below, and hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new here. We will have another FNCS video next week going over, who my picks for the finals are once qualifier 3 is over. That should be a bit easier of a list. Maybe not for NA East because they just have so many good players. Why do NA East have so many good players? I don't understand. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.